Hello everyone and welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell and we are here to talk about everything that went down at Washington Commanders training camp on this beautiful but sunny and scorching hot Tuesday. Before we jump into our topics, which do include the standout of training camp up to this point, the Commanders' first round pick having a bounce back day, and a 7th rounder getting reps with the first teams. Guys, before we jump into that, I gotta say, I so deeply appreciate all the support on the recent videos. I just started this channel recently. I'm posting daily, yes, daily content, sometimes even twice daily, like we did yesterday and today. And the reception, whether it be the likes, the comments, the new subscribers to the channel, I seriously appreciate all of it. If you are a first-time visitor here or you have not clicked that subscribe button, I would encourage you to do so. As I mentioned, we'll be coming out with new videos every day, keeping you in the loop on what's going on at Commanders Camp, the big headlines, previewing games, reacting to them once we see them. And as we go forward and we continue to build this community, would love to get you guys on camera with me, exchange some thoughts about just the team in general. And as always, leave your comments on everything that I say in the comment section below. I will be responding to everybody. So with that housekeeping stuff out of the way, let's talk about the big news. And I want to start with this. Croskey-Merritt. Just a story of perseverance. A kid who did 4 years at Alabama State. I haven't grinded the film, but his numbers were pretty bad. Transfers to New Mexico, great year, transfers to Arizona, plays one game against New Mexico, is ready to finally stake his claim, make himself a draft prospect, doesn't get to play at all, ruled ineligible, falls to the 7th round, continues to handle himself with grace, and today, everything that he put into that process paid off. Because Croskey-Merritt, as a 7th round draft pick who basically didn't play college football last season, he got reps with the ones today. There was a no-huddle portion of training camp, and JCM, which I don't know if we're calling him that yet. Maybe he still has to earn. I don't know if he's cool enough yet to earn the nickname, but Croskey-Merritt got reps with the ones, which means Jaden Daniels and Deebo Samuel and Tyler Biadasz and all those cats. He was out there with him for the no-huddle portion. And there's always going to be intermingling of players, trying them with different units, seeing do they rise to the level of competition? Do they just fit chemistry-wise better there? And yeah, there's going to be moving parts, and the Commanders are going to experiment with things, but they wouldn't do experiments they didn't believe could have potential positive long-term effects. Croskey-Merritt, again, as a 7th rounder, is not even really guaranteed to make the roster. He was listed 4th on the depth chart at one point, arguably 5th if you look at Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, Jeremy McNichols, and Chris Rodriguez. He could conceivably be the 5th man in that rotation, plus all the other guys who are competing for a spot on the 53-man roster. But no, he's elevated himself to a position where Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn have confidence in him to at least put him out there with the first stringers. Does this mean he won the starting job? Absolutely not. What we learned with the Commanders last year is they're going to not rush into those decisions. Jaden Daniels was named as the backup to Marcus Mariota to open camp, and he had to go fight to earn the starting job. We're seeing with Josh Conerly Jr., Andrew Wiley got reps with the ones on the first day of training camp. He's probably still ahead of Conerly in the depth chart. They're going to give those guys time and really make them earn their spots in the rotation. Also, not make them feel rushed and as if they have to produce when they're not ready to or not acclimated to the NFL speed, the speed of the game. But Croskey-Merritt is a player who brings elusiveness and big playability, two things that Brian Robinson Jr. has not over the course of his career. B-Rob is very good at getting 3 or 4 yards on every carry, good in pass protection. He's an average receiver out of the backfield, but for his consistency, there's no game-changing ability. Croskey-Merritt could potentially provide that. There's a long way to go. We did not have, we like I'm on the team, the Commanders did not have pads on today. So far, that's only been a one-day thing on Monday. I believe their next practice session will have pads, but I could be wrong about that. But point being, it's really tough to evaluate running backs without pads. So these next couple of sessions with the pads, when the joint practice with the Patriots happens, the first preseason game, that's when we will get a really good look at him. And I am excited because he's making it hard not to be excited. I saw a video and I really wish I could credit the person who created it. It was one of these Commanders reporters who was out at training camp, and they went around to other Commanders reporters and they just said, hey, tell me the most impressive player at Commanders training camp. And if we're to say that they got 8 responses, 6 of them were Croskey-Merritt. So the buzz is high on this kid, and we know what Jaden Daniels is going to be. The defense looks much improved. If there's a solid running game, or an efficient running game, an above average running game, this offense can go through the roof, and I am here for it. Keeping it on the theme of rookies, let's talk about Josh Conerly Jr. Because in the video I posted early this morning, I had reported that Lionel Willingham of 106.7 The Fan had said that Conerly was unimpressive. And yes, it was really only 1 day of pads, and just like running backs, it's hard to evaluate linemen without pads because the element of physicality is removed. But in that 1 day of pads, Javonte Jean-Baptiste got 3 straight pressures off of him. He didn't look comfortable on speed rushes, which was concerning because speed was supposed to be his asset. Well, today was a much better day, and I just want to shout him out for it. He, again, was rotating in with the 1s and the 2s, doing some different things. He had a really nice block on a pulling run play where he got out in space and was able to be that first man to attack the second level of the defense. And I want the best for this guy, because if he can improve and be a legitimate contributor even this year, that means he's probably going to be a legitimate contributor for the next 7 to 10 years. So there's no reason that we should be rooting for this kid to fail or playing up his poor days of practice. We should be showering him with praise and compliments whenever we can. So shout out to Josh Conerly, bouncing back. As a rookie, look, he wasn't a top 10 pick. Those guys are normally surefire guarantees, the Will Campbells of the world. As the 29th pick, Conerly's going to have up and downs. He's a physical specimen in that he's agile and he's quick for his size, but his play strength was a concern. He's not that experienced. He's only 21. He did not have a redshirt season of college, really. So, yes, there's going to be ups and there's going to be downs. Today was an up for him. Josh Conerly did talk about the importance of having Laremy Tunsil at his side. He said, quote, "That's one of the people I'm most thankful for. He's always given me pointers, whether it's on or off the field." There was a cool video of Tunsil just kind of watching Conerly warm up earlier, go through some quick drills, pointing out some of his technique, giving him some advice, and it was just cool to see. That's another big reason I always talk about the impact of the veterans, not just as players, but as building blocks and mentors for the young players at their position or their opposite position. So think like Deebo Samuel going against Mike Sainristil and Trey Amos, or think Von Miller going against Josh Conerly. It's the importance of those guys, which I always talk about. Let's move on over to who appears to have established himself as the standout of training camp. And this is from the beginning through today. And there have been a lot of different names popping up. Again, Croskey-Merritt, most impressive, maybe relative to his expectations or to his value as a 7th rounder. But there has been one guy who's consistently made plays. Today he got to speak at the microphone for the first time, which was nice to hear from him. He got a couple of interceptions on different days from Jaden Daniels. Today he was breaking up passes left and right. His name is Mike Sainristil. All of 5'8", however tall he is. Not the most physically intimidating player in the world. Only played 2 years of defense in college. So that makes this his 4th season of defense upcoming. Last year he switched positions, went outside. Now he's probably coming back into the nickel. Mike Sainristil, by all accounts, has been excellent start to finish during camp and has been the best player at the camp. And I want to just issue a reminder here. Sainristil impressed. He did not have a great rookie season. People who say that are going too far. I personally think it was good, solid, but considering the circumstance, which was the defense couldn't stop the run, the defense couldn't stop the pass, and he had to move to a position he hadn't played for, his first assignment was to guard Jamar Chase. When you factor all of those things in, you can't judge him too harshly. I want to just remind everybody who this player is. It's easy to forget because he's good. He's good-natured. He's fun. He likes to joke around. He's only 5'8". He looks like one of us, even less than. I'm 6'1", 200 pounds. I'm bigger than Mike Sainristil. He looks like, if I were to just see him in a bar, it's like, oh, I could take that guy in a fight probably. I'm not saying I would, because I don't think I would, but that might be my initial instinct if I saw him. A reminder of who Mike Sainristil is. Nick Saban, before the draft, said that Mike Sainristil was the best player in his entire class, pound for pound. He was the best player on the best defense in the country that won a national championship at Michigan. And I know that there have been a lot of online conversations about the Commanders got to be mad that they got Mike Sainristil instead of Cooper DeJean. Yeah, Cooper DeJean's a great player, okay? But let's give Sainristil a fair chance. DeJean entered just about the perfect situation with a great defensive coordinator, a proven defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio, and a team that had a winning culture and that had just been to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Sainristil walked into a team that was completely reversing everything it had been in modern history, with coaches that, while we now look at them as good, when Dan Quinn was hired, it was considered one of the most unimpressive hires of the cycle. Same thing with Cliff Kingsbury. Joe Whitt Jr. had never been a defensive coordinator. There was an exodus of previous players. And for example, Benjamin St-Juste started outside. Sainristil then took his spot, moved to a new position. There was just so much instability. So now that there's a bit of culture and a bit of an identity, Sainristil is starting to stand out. And that doesn't surprise me whatsoever. Going back to look at Sainristil's numbers, his final year at Michigan, he has 44 tackles, 6 pass deflections, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 6 interceptions, 2 touchdowns. He's listed at 5'10" here on ESPN. That's funny. There's no chance that he's 5'10". This guy, he's a great player, and he's a big game player. We saw it against Detroit when he had the 2 interceptions, one on the trick play, which I want to say was intended for Jameson Williams. Or no, Jameson Williams threw it to Jahmyr Gibbs, I believe, and then he picked off Jared Goff in the end zone, who was targeting Jameson Williams on like a deep post. We know the player that he can be. He got the Commanders' first interception of the season last year when he picked off Lamar Jackson. But it's not just that he's making these big plays. It's that he has the instincts of a receiver. So he's not just going to break up the ball. He's not going to sniff out the play and make the tackle. He's going to actually produce the ball. That's the key phrase that Joe Whitt Jr. and Dan Quinn have said all along since they got hired. Produce the ball. Give it back to Jaden Daniels. Put it in the hands of the offense. Because with this offense, the defense doesn't have to be great. Heck, they could be in the bottom 10 of points allowed per game. But if they're in the top 10 of turnovers and they're giving the offense more opportunities, that greatly increases the ceiling of the team. And the team was one of the final 4 last year. So what's the next step? The Super Bowl, winning the Super Bowl. Not that Mike Sainristil has to do that on his own, but if you start to get these impact players like Sainristil and they keep stacking them, Jordan McGee is a guy that I have a lot of hope for in his second year. Johnny Newton, a guy that I have a lot of hope for. Trey Amos, been impressive in camp so far. I really want to see him. It's these constant improvements that are going to make the team better for the next generation. And Sainristil, in my opinion, is the cornerstone piece of that next generation. You've got Jaden on offense, you got Sainristil on defense. And all reports coming out of camp back that up. Our next story, we're going to talk about, actually, just throw in a little something right here. Keep it on the young guys real quick. Not much of a story. Kain Medrano got an interception off of Sam Hartman today. Cool. I was wondering where Kain was kind of at. He showed some impressive athleticism as far as his fluidity in individual drills, but hadn't really produced anything in a team context. This was nice. Sam Hartman was actually having a nice day. Sam Hartman's a good quarterback. Let's not get that twisted. And Kain got his first interception off of him. So shout out to Kain Medrano. Good to hear his name. Going back to somebody I mentioned earlier in the video, Lionel Willingham of 106.7 The Fan. This I thought was pretty interesting. I'm not able to attend the camps during the weekdays because I have a job. I work from home, so I'm able to get these videos out, but I can't just vacate my desk in my office. Hopefully, if you guys subscribe to the channel enough, if you leave enough likes on this video, then maybe by next training camp, I'm in a position where I'm able to get out there and get you some better content, some videos and all that stuff, like firsthand videos of practice footage. But anyway, Lionel Willingham, who is at the camp, said that the defense, led by Joe Whitt Jr., has been using a lot of pre-snap movement and rotations, bringing a lot of pressures, bringing a lot of blitzes. You know, that's something that we saw last year. The Commanders blitzed at the 6th highest rate in the league. Frankie Louvu was the most blitzed player in the league, and they don't seem to be too keen on stopping that. I had wondered if the defensive line got better, would they continue to bring additional pressure at the rate they did last year? They almost had to blitz out of necessity because the front four wasn't getting a great push on passing downs. So you had to bring Frankie Louvu, or you had to bring Bobby Wagner, even come with a corner blitz. You had to do something to supplement the front four. With the investments into that unit, whether it be signing Von Miller or adding Javon Kinlaw and Jacob Martin and Eddie Goldman and Dietrich Wise, bringing in all these guys, I had just thought, okay, is this a solution? Are you going to be able to sit back and play soft coverage now? No, they're going to continue to be aggressive. Not saying they will be these teams, but play in the mold of a Cleveland Browns, of a Pittsburgh Steelers, where we can get pressure with 4, but we're still going to bring extra players. We're going to play man coverage on the back end, and you're not going to have any time to throw the football. If you complete a pass, it could be a big play. But we would rather give up one big play. Let's say we'd give up one big play in 10. You complete 50% of your passes. So you go 5 of 10 with one chunk play versus you go 7 of 10 with 5 medium gains, 4 medium gains, something like that. That's the idea here. And frankly, I don't mind that. I don't mind the aggressiveness. Again, knowing the offense that's on the other side. If this was a team that had to be very conservative and run the ball a lot and didn't look to take many deep shots and didn't have a terrific quarterback, I would feel much differently. But when you know you have the guy over there and all you need the defense to do is come up with 1 or 2 big plays per game to flip the script, then you're able to have the luxury of being aggressive and getting gashed, giving up those big plays for the trade-off of producing them. So just something, again, I'm excited to see. I thought Joe Whitt Jr. showed a lot. He evolved a lot in his first year as the defensive coordinator last year, but he also made it very clear. He's very transparent in his press conferences, and it was clear that he was not able to do everything he wanted to. And I just have to start to wonder, with Sainristil emerging the way he is, with Trey Amos and Marshawn Lattimore being bigger, physical, shutdown man sort of corners and a greater pass rush, I'm really excited to see what he's going to be able to conjure up. The final thing we're going to talk about here, just a quick mention from Russell Wilson. He was talking on the Up and Adams show hosted by Kay Adams today. She is going around to, I believe, every team's training camp. And she caught up with Russell Wilson. Of course, the Commanders are hosting the Giants in week 1 of the season. And Russ basically said that he was just very excited to see Bobby Wagner again. Wagner is one of his best friends. He said it was an honor to play him again. He said that they shared a quote. There's a quote they used to tell each other when they were teammates back in Seattle, which was, "Don't get bored with consistency." And when I heard him say that, I thought back to the Commanders' mic'd up video of Wagner when the Commanders were playing the Buccaneers in the first round of the playoffs last year. And somebody, whether it was the cameraman or a teammate, a coach, I forget who, someone asked him about the difference between the playoffs and the regular season, and he said there is no difference. Football is football. Know your keys, film study. That's how you get after and make the right play. And then when he burst up the middle, got Bucky Irving on the ground for a negative play, goes to the sideline. Ken Norton says, "How'd you see that?" Bobby Wagner said, "Film study and great coaching." It's consistency. It's all it is at the end of the day. I think, while we're talking about it, I think it might have been Alexander Usyk. I think it might have been him. I wish I could remember. I got so many quotes and names floating around in my head that I can't always get them straight. But he said that motivation is easy to come by, but it doesn't stick. Consistency is what's hard, but it's what will make you great. And it wasn't those exact words, but that's basically the moral there. And I think that's a great way to close out this video, because I think we should all be in the pursuit of greatness in whatever it is we do, whether you're an athlete, whether you are a journalist, whether you're making YouTube videos like me, whether you work at a restaurant, doesn't matter, whether you're just a family man. Be in pursuit of excellence and be consistent in what it is you do. That's a great way to close out this video. So I'm going to head on out of here. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button. If you want to be locked in for future updates about the Washington Commanders, I'm posting daily content. So hit the subscribe button. Go down to the comments section. Let me know your thoughts and everything I said. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have a great day.
Chew with me. Got a little chew with me.